Hello and welcome everyone to another live post here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, a rather special live post. I'm going to zoom in here on the Ukraine lion pride, enjoying some fresh enrichment placed in their habitat. A special live post because we have a very special individual gracing the sanctuary with their presence today. I'm going to pan back from the lions and I want everyone to give a warm welcome to Dr. Andrew Kushnir.
Everybody, thank you for that welcome.
Of course, Andrew. And Dr. Andrew, I should say, Dr. Andrew Kushnir, you're a familiar face. And Andrew, if you could just give me a quick summary or kind of elevator pitch in your involvement and truthfully the integral role that you played in getting these cats to sanctuary.
Yeah, sure. So I was in southern Ukraine when these lion cubs were abandoned at a train station. And I contacted IFA to help me figure out how to get these cubs out of Ukraine and to safety. IFA then contacted the Wildcat Sanctuary, and in the meantime we traveled from Odessa to Kyiv. The cubs and I picked up Prada, the older cub, and then we traveled to the Poznan Zoo in western Poland where we spent about a month before we flew over here in early December.
And here we are. It's about almost 2 months later. Kind of what were your kind of knee-jerk reaction when you saw the cubs for the first time?
I could not believe how big they've gotten. They're huge. You know, their size, their height, their girth. They still have the same old playful spirit. And you know, I've been watching them out here for the last hour or so, and you know, they're just nonstop playing with each other, playing with the trees. Taras is starting to mark, which is incredible to see. You know, and also just it's beautiful to see Prada just so seamlessly part of the group. I mean, they're just such a happy pride together. And
you know, I think that's, you know, something so cool, and that we all got to kind of experience maybe a lot sooner than we realized. It would have been almost immediately when we let the three out. They made it very clear they wanted to see Prada and collectively welcome her to her forever home. So you're right. It's really been great to see the bond that they've created and the ready-made pride that this family has here.
Yeah, they're all set to go.
And so, Andrew, you know, you're not just here visiting, you're actually here, you know, with some, you know, a little bit of purpose behind what you're doing. What's happening here at the Wildcat Sanctuary tomorrow?
Yeah, that's right. The time has come to spay Lesya and Stefania. That'll happen tomorrow. And then the following week, Prada will have her procedure done. And then in a few months, in the distant future, Taras will have his vasectomy. We can definitely discuss, you know, what a vasectomy is and why it's different, and why it's important for lions to have vasectomies versus being full out neutered.
Exactly. And so Andrew, obviously we're, you know, an accredited sanctuary, and we are wanting to obviously not have any breeding happening with our rescues.
Right.
And so, you know, why would someone, you know, if someone's asking why spay a lion in captivity like this, are there health benefits to it?
Definitely. I mean, there are definitely the ethical considerations. Like you said, you know, the TWS is a non-breeding facility. I mean, these animals are all here because they came from overpopulation, and oftentimes they come from the black market. So they themselves are a product of bad breeding and overpopulation. So it's important, you know, to really tackle that issue head on by ensuring that no breeding can occur from these animals again. There's also the social aspect. You know, this isn't a breeding facility for multiple reasons, but you know, especially the animals that come from the black market trade, they probably come from generations of, you know, intensive inbreeding. You know, siblings mating with siblings, mother mating with son, father mating with daughter. So genetically, you know, it wouldn't be responsible to, you know, I know some folks think that, oh, you can release them into the wild, or maybe their offspring can go into the wild. Well, it wouldn't be responsible to introduce kind of messy genetics into healthy wild populations who have, you know, very clean genetics, we could say.
Yeah, definitely. And then also too, just kind of touching on some of the health issues that we're getting ahead of by spaying these lion cubs at this age.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, since these animals aren't going to be, you know, part of a breeding program, and we want them to have a long and happy and healthy life, they will get spayed, and Taras will get vasectomized. It's really important for females to get spayed. We know that there's a direct link between spaying cats and reducing the risk of feline mammary carcinoma or breast cancer. There's been a lot of studies done. It's very well accepted in especially the veterinary community that, the earlier that you spay female cats, the higher the reduction risk of development of mammary cancer. And of course, because we'll be performing an ovariohysterectomy, we'll be removing the ovaries, the uterus, and the fallopian tubes, or uterine horns. So by removing those, we 100% reduce the risk of developing uterine cancer or ovarian cancer, because they won't exist anymore.
I don't think it's hard to tell that Dr. Andrew Kushnir is a bona fide veterinarian with some of the vocabulary he's using.
Oh, right.
No. And our followers love hearing that,
Sure.
hearing kind of the more, scientific side, if you will, to what happens here at the sanctuary and why we're making these calculated decisions for our rescues. And so this is pretty freaking Andrew, and I'm going to interject on myself too. I want to welcome everyone to a wonderful live post here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. As the lion cubs have ran inside, they'll be looping back outside. I'm joined by Dr. Andrew Kushnir, who's played an integral role in getting the Ukraine Pride Safe to Sanctuary here at TWS. And Andrew has been elaborating a little bit on what's happening here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, as tomorrow Lesya and Stefania are going to be having their spay surgeries. And certainly you can expect us to be kind of documenting the day and sharing it with you via live posts and Facebook posts tomorrow. Andrew's going to be scrubbed up, and so we'll be seeing him joining our on-site veterinarians and making sure that everything goes smoothly. And so it is just 2 of the 4. So Stefania and Lesya are happening tomorrow. And Andrew, you've kind of been really sitting in on a lot of the veterinary meetings leading up to this, because obviously you're involved. Why 2 now? And how does that kind of work into our plan with neutering and spaying this group?
Yeah, sure. So, the group before, they are so bonded. I mean, the only time that they've ever individually really been alone for a prolonged period of time was when they, flew from Poland over here. But the team here at TWS has been really working with each individual to get used to a crate. That way they get used to being moved around to the hospital and back. But because we'll be making incisions, we'll be making small surgical cuts into their abdomens to perform the procedure. We want to make sure that the 2 that have surgery tomorrow, have a little bit more rest, so they're not surrounded by the whole pride. They can kind of take it easy for at least a few days, maybe up to a week, 10 days, just to make sure that those incisions heal. The decision to have them all done at once, would increase the risk that they'd all play together and could interrupt their incisions, which could be a medical emergency depending on what happens. And so having Stefania and Lesya, they'll be separated afterwards and they'll be recovering together, but they'll be right next door to Taras and Prada, and they can all see each other and they can smell each other and play with each other through the grate. So I think that's the plan.
Nice. Yeah, and obviously that recovery period is very critical. So it's nice to hear kind of you expanding on how it's a little bit more calculated than what someone might think as, oh, we can just spay them all now or what have you. So
and it's way easier to invest the time to separate them after a surgery for a week, 10 days than it is to put them all together again and then have to worry and possibly deal with a dehiscence, which would require another procedure. So in the long run, it ends up just being much easier and safer for the cubs.
Awesome. Hey everyone, I'm happy that so many of you are enjoying yourselves. We're tuned in live here from the Wildcat Sanctuary. That's the Ukraine Pride, Taras, Stefania, Prada, and Lesya. Enjoying a smorgasbord of enrichment. They had some cardboard tubes, which I think have kind of been the biggest hit. A nice barrel with some hay in there, and their tree branches, which has also been a hit among this group. We've just been talking to Dr. Andrew. We've been talking a little bit more about some of the specifics of the spay surgeries that are happening here tomorrow between Stefania and Lesya. But, Andrew, we kind of talked about your knee-jerk reaction in that the cubs, they obviously have grown immensely since you last seen them 2 months ago. Are any of kind of the personality traits, shining through as to, from when you saw them 2 months ago and the time you spent with them in Ukraine and Poland?
Absolutely not. They're all the same individuals that I remember them as. Yeah.
Well, that's great to hear.
It is fun to see the dynamic, that Prada adds because while we were in Poland, we had a couple of play dates between the groups. But it wasn't until here at TWS that, we actually fully introduced them and got to see how they all, reacted to each other. And, she just fits in so well and she's so patient. But yeah, for the most part, they all have pretty much the same personalities. And it's great to see, they're bigger, they're larger, but yeah, they're the same old lions. And
that's great. That's great to hear, and I think just really goes to show, as we always do, just applauding and commending our caretaking staff for ensuring that this pride remains the happy and content pride that they arrived here as. Andrew, it's really been a blast, and this is just our first dose of Dr. Andrew.
Right,
so,
yeah. Oh yeah, we can talk about
Yeah. So Andrew, you kind of teased it a little bit earlier in that Taras is going to be having a different procedure, and he's going to be getting a vasectomy. And why don't you talk a little bit about that and why we wouldn't neuter a cat like Taras? Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to guess that most of the folks tuning in right now are familiar with the spay procedure in females and the neutering that happens in dogs and cats. And with lions especially, we want to avoid neutering because what that will do is that'll change the hormonal balance of the lion and will actually result in no mane development. So if you have an adult male lion that already has a mane and you neuter him, over time that mane will actually disappear because that's very much a hormonal response for secondary sexual characteristics. So Taras will have a very specialized procedure. It's called a vasectomy. So instead of removing the testicles, we'll actually just remove the duct or the tube that really transports sperm from the testes into the penis. So it'll be a very straightforward procedure. It's a little bit more advanced because we have to dissect out some tissues versus just full on remove them. But it should be very routine, and that'll happen in the coming months. For male lions, we want to wait until they're at an appropriate age before we do that procedure.
And what's the recovery period? Is that going to be similar to a spay surgery, or I imagine it's a smaller incision?
Yeah, it should be. It's a smaller incision. We're handling less tissue. We're also removing far less tissue. We're just making a tiny little excision of a very small tube that doesn't have much nerve innervation, doesn't have much blood supply, so it should be very quick. But yeah, again, we will want to keep him separate for a few days because we want to make sure that his incision, the cut into the skin, heals appropriately and that he has time to rest. Awesome.
And thanks for being so informative, Andrew. I've been seeing a lot of comments
sure.
Fly by, and people are loving just how educational this post has been. And I was in the process of saying this is our first dose of Dr. Andrew. We're going to be having a busy day tomorrow, obviously, and we're going to be featuring and kind of documenting what's happening on our Facebook page and various social media pages. So I've been seeing some questions for him in the comments. We'll be fielding those, and maybe I'll be able to throw them to him on another live post. And, Dr. Andrew, it's just so cool seeing all the people, all the supportive folks here at TWS who, have, maybe been brought in after hearing about the lion rescue, or maybe have been supporters prior to that. And it's always wonderful to hear about the different ways and that people can support the Wildcat Sanctuary. And we were talking about one way this morning that's super, super helpful to us. And what's that exactly?
Yeah, there's a new list up on the Amazon wish list. So if anyone wants to support the amazing work that TWS is doing, definitely be sure to go check that out and see if you can help in any way. I'm incredibly appreciative for everything that the Wildcat Sanctuary has done, not just for the cubs, but for me as well. I mean, it's truly an honor to be out here to be able to, be a part of the procedures and to catch up with old friends. So yeah, if you want to support TWS, be sure to check out the Amazon wish list. And
well, thank you, Andrew. That's super awesome of you, and a nice compliment. And thank you. Our Amazon wish list is a weekly ask that we have, and our supporters are amazing at stepping up. And that's those are products that don't just help the cats, but they also help the people who help the cats, like our caretaking staff and office staff. And we're so appreciative for that. And Andrew, this is the first time that the Cubs have received a large barrel like this. Typically, our followers see these larger barrels with our bigger cats. So this has been fun. It kind of turned into a toboggan there, and they went.
They're figuring it out.
Yeah, sliding down the hill.
They're wondering what it is.
Exactly, and that's really just kind of has been the day to day for this crew. Is be curious, be inquisitive. They're active. And then going and crashing in their indoor bedroom. So it's cool to see.
Not a bad life.
Yeah, exactly. Not a bad life. And thank you for taking a major part in making that possible. Hey everyone, I had a blast today. As you heard, Dr. Andrew is here for the next couple of days, so we'll be seeing and hearing more from him. I also had a blast not only listening to Dr. Andrew, but it being accented by the Ukraine pride, having a blast with their enrichment in the background. So thank you, Dr. Kushnir, for stepping in today and making it a very edifying live post. And we'll be seeing you all scrubbed up tomorrow for Lesya and Stefania's spay. So, hey, have a great rest of your Wednesday, everyone, and we will see you back here at the Wildcat Sanctuary tomorrow. Thank you.